friends, welcome back. Scotty the Trucker coming to you from a little east of Atlanta. I got a delivery in a few hours, a little bit north of me in Monroe, Walmart. So I got to time it just perfectly. As most of y'all know, you can't be more than an hour early and you can't be late. So you got to land right where you need to. So with Walmart loads, it's always been my practice to find a place as close as possible and to launch from at the right time. But I got a few more hours. I thought I would just go through some stories today. So let me get through the where I've been, what I've done. As you know, that's not really usually my focus. I like to let you know kind of the path I'm taking. But for me, I don't know how interesting it is to say I went there and then I did this and then I did that and then I did this. But anywho, I think the last time I talked to you, I believe I was in Washington, I think. From there, I got a load south back to the Portland area. North Portland. I had two deliveries from there. Oddly enough, I don't know. I just found it strange. You know those clickbait articles that are, at least on my phone. If you an Android, you swipe to the left several pages on your main screen, it goes to the bunch of clickbait articles. And I saw a story, and it wasn't much of a story, but it showed a picture of an old beat-up camper and talked about how overnight it had been parked in front of a business or something. It was on one of those streets with with all the homeless campers type of thing along the road. And the article was just about this thing being just utterly destroyed overnight. And what kind of struck me was that it was the same street I parked on the night before this article came out. So I may, depending on how quick that article came out, I may have been right beside it, or a little bit up the street. I wasn't on the area of that street that had all the campers and the homeless encampment, but I was 100 yards up from that street in Portland that this article was about. So I don't know, just weird. All right, so from there, got a load from there, ping-ponging across the country. I had a load that went to Mississippi. Great drive, too much time on it, as has been the norm lately. Oh, by the way, I am out of the hole, thank God. Yeah, it has been, if there's a scary moment in trucking, this has been it for me. I thought that the first breakdown was it. This was worse, just as far as ulcer-producing anxiety. As y'all know, if you've been watching, I had a longer than usual home time because I had a few events that I needed to be, or really wanted to be at. So I stayed out twice as long last time. I think I was out 2.5 months. I think something, maybe two months and a week. So that, the thinking being that you'll be in twice the financial shape when that home time rolls around. It doesn't work that way, folks. It really doesn't. But anyway, on the way to home time, I broke down. So I had breakdown, a week in freightliner, roughly speaking. Home time for 3 weeks. Too much time for someone who isn't totally established yet with their accounts and everything. I'm still kind of getting out of that first year where you need to build your accounts up to where you can weather these kind of things a lot easier. So long home time, came out to maintenance, not a breakdown, but I needed to stop for maintenance. So all that, and then you come out to a crazy slow period in this freight problem, this slowdown with freight. Now, I came into trucking under slow freight, but it's been working fine for me. I know nothing else. I have very little to compare it to because I came in basically at, I think, roughly where most people would call the beginning of this bad patch for freight. So, me taking this home time, I did the calculations that if things were normal, I'd get out of the hole in, 2.5 to 3 weeks, even with the longer time. Not so, man. I came out and I've heard anecdotal stuff from other YouTubers that it just seems like everything just came to almost a screeching halt right at the time I came out of home time. So it's just been, I've talked about it before. There's been day-long waits between loads. The loads themselves have too much time on them. The one from Oregon to Mississippi, I was not pushing it hard. I was doing 8.5-hour days, and I still got there a day and a half early, almost 2 days early. I got a 34 that I didn't want at a truck stop. I did call the place and try to get in early, but they said it's unlikely that we can get you in. However, we have this thing called what do they call it? A work-in fee. You pay $100 and you might be worked in, although they were thinking probably not. And with this slowdown, I'm at a point where I'm not broke or anything, but $100 is $100, and I'm not going to just throw it down the toilet. So I took my 34. Anyway, don't want to get too deep into that. Like I said, too much time on the drives. And then the next load, the one that I'm on right now, Mississippi to my first delivery is a little north of me right now, roughly Atlanta area. That had too much time on it. I've been at this rest area for, I think, it will be a solid 24 hours waiting for this one. Then it picks up pace. The next delivery after that is Gainesville tomorrow morning early. So the good news is, I got out of the hole technically. Didn't make a ton this past paycheck, but I'm in positive numbers now. Now this week, this payroll coming up. Again, slow, and it's not the best of circumstances. However, the long cross-country trip just missed payday, so this week I started the week with roughly $4,500 at the beginning of this week, and this load will be in the same week. So while everything's slow, and this is not a great week if you look at it for time spent, not driving and that kind of thing, the two loads are landing just right for me to have a big week as far as the settlement goes. So thank God, so I'm into positive numbers, and this week looks good. All right, now enough of that. We're going to move on just to some, I guess I'll call them stories from the road. I don't know if they're really stories, but just anecdotal things that have happened in recent days that I thought were interesting. First of which, I'm staring right at it, and I'll show you a picture probably right here. There's an overflowing dumpster right in front of me here at this pilot that I've been staying at. And yesterday a truck backed up to it and had a claim to get rid of, and I watched him do it, and I should have jumped out, but I don't know. Anyway, he backed up to it and was throwing cases of something into this dumpster. You can see it from the picture that I'm posting here. It's the cases up towards the front where they look open-faced and you see things in it. What those are fresh, bright red strawberries. There's a trash can, and I threw my trash away soon after he left, and I got to look at them. You could tell they were refrigerated. They were bright red. They didn't have all the fungus crap and fur that strawberries sometimes get pretty quickly after they're starting to go bad. There's always those few at the bottom that don't look great. These looked like fresh from the valley in California, probably, is my guess, because I've had those strawberries. They're delicious. I'm not even a strawberry guy, but you get fresh strawberries, man, not much better than that. And man, I was looking at it. It's like 1, 2, 4, 5, 6. Looks like 7 or 8 cases of these fresh, awesome-looking strawberries. And I'm throwing my trash away. And damn if I didn't want to go dumpster diving. I have never had a stronger pull to go rooting through a dumpster in my life, but I so wanted. It would have been so easy, just reach up and do it, but I did not want to be that guy. There's probably a lot of eyeballs on me. I don't want to be the trucker that's pulling something out of a dumpster, despite how good it looks. And I'm looking right at it. I don't have the urge today, since it's been sitting all night long on top of a trash heap, but yesterday when it was freshly put on top, I really wanted to grab some. It was, oh man. All right, next story. Same place here. It's not really a story, I guess, but one of the things that I've kind of talked about it. I've had a lot of negative stuff to talk about lately. This is, I don't know, just kind of one of my favorite things, or my favorite moments on the road these days. I've talked about my love of country fried steak, of course, everybody knows that. It's my favorite breakfast, favorite anything. I get it whatever time it is. Country fried steak, eggs, hash browns, depending on where you're at, it's either white toast or pancakes. I love it. But one of the things that I just love, it's kind of a reset for me, and it kind of coincides with when I need to do laundry. Whenever I need to do laundry, I find usually a Flying J. These days, a TA or something, Petra, whatever. But my favorite is still Flying J. Least favorite is Love's, by the way. Just everything is just too small. Love's, in my opinion. I don't hate it or anything. It's my least favorite of the truck stops. But anyway, my reset. What I enjoy is when I have to do laundry, I roll into a Flying J, get all my laundry done, and I don't even mind that. It's something nice knowing that all my laundry is clean. I get a shower, feeling clean, go get my favorite meal at whatever it is, Country Pride, Denny's, what are the other, Iron Skillet. I've gotten so I don't really have a favorite now. They all have the same exact meal, just except for that toast and pancake difference. I get the meal, feels great. I usually sit and have way too much coffee just to be sitting. Not that I'm kind of broken from my coffee habit, but in those moments I kind of enjoy just sitting after my meal and just relaxing for a while, play on my phone, drink some coffee, just relax. And that to me is like the best moments out here, despite seeing maybe some spectacular scenery. But I just like that reset. I just feel like I'm back to normal, and it just resets the brain and everything. So anyway, I find myself, again, I'm here way too long. I've been here, I wish I had checked, but I was here, I think I was here about 11 o'clock yesterday, and it's something like 9 o'clock. Yep, 9:08 right now. So I got my country fried steak meal yesterday for lunch. It was the only meal of the day. Usually when I do the big meal, it's about all I eat in the whole day. It also keeps my costs down. It makes me feel better about eating a big meal anyway. But I got that, and everything's great. This place is really well run. It's got a great manager. Everybody in there was friendly. They did team serving, whatever. It was great. But I did notice there was one of the waitresses there. She was not my waitress yesterday. And she was as friendly as any of the others. And I'm going to be very delicate with this story, because I understand. When I was in there yesterday afternoon, I had noticed her with everybody, or the few people that she had served, having conversations. And actually, I came into the restaurant. She had been crying. She was telling her manager, "Sorry, I just had a moment." And I didn't know what that was about, And I went on, and then each person that she waited on, she got into a conversation, and I learned that her daughter, at that time I had just heard her daughter had passed away. Didn't know of what, didn't know when, and she was understandably upset. No parent should bury a daughter or a child. That's just horrible. So I'm going to be very delicate about this. But anyway, great meal, awesome meal. They did there's country fried steak meals, and then there's country fried steak meals, and this one was a good one. Whoever the chef / line cook, whatever you want to call them, they knew their way around a stick of butter and some eggs. It was the best scrambled eggs I'd had in a long time. Good eggs. Anyway, great meal. Fast forward to today. Yes, I decided I'm here a long time. I got it again. I went in, had actually they were out of country fried steak this morning. Yeah, and I got my second time. I don't care. Shut up. I'm fine. I don't do it often, but anyway, I did do it twice in this 24-hour period. So anyway, I did order that. Unfortunately, they were out of country fried steak, and they offered a substitute. Get this, they call it chicken fried chicken. It's just fried chicken. It's chicken breast with the gravy over it. I went for it. I'm not a guy that's going to raise hell about stuff. I'm there to relax. I'm there to enjoy myself. I'm not looking for trouble. So I tried it, and it was okay. It was good. It was actually very good. It just, as a substitute, fine. It's not replacing my country fried steak anytime soon. But anyway, they were out of that, and I had this woman as my waitress today. Fantastic waitress. No complaints whatsoever, and this is not a complaint story. to dissipate, but you're still seeing the occasional dead sheep as you left, or pulling away from that place. And I didn't count them all, but when I did count, what I did count was a minimum. I counted 27 dead sheep. And I'm just thinking, man, not just the loss of the life, the sheep themselves, but I don't know how expensive that is for whoever owns those sheep and who raises them or whatever, but that's got to be a big hit. And so pointless, there's a dumpster right there. Throw your stuff in the trash. And that's been one of the things, there's equal good and bad, as probably in any other profession. Anytime I've been in trouble, there's been no shortage of truckers there to help. Not so much now because I'm not having as much trouble, but backing and, the occasional blindside back. I'd always have someone jump out here, let me spot you. Wonderful people out here. It seems like there's the truckers that will literally give you the shirt off their back. And then there's the truckers that just don't give a shit about anything. The bonus parkers that don't think about where they're bonus parking. I've talked about that before. If you're bonus parking and you need to, understandable, but if you're bonus parking and there's parking there and you're parking in a place that's making life difficult on those that are doing it right, that's crappy. But the trash and the, dare I say, pouring of pee out in parking lots, and you just joked about the smell, and I did a video on where's the petting zoo. I can't find the petting zoo. I smell it, but I don't see it. Just, man, there are ways to dispose of things, and if, I've seen in comments and places, well, all the trash was, the trash was overflowing, so, what do they expect us to do? And I don't know. With me, I'm going to hold on to my stuff until I can get to a proper receptacle. There's no excuse for throwing your trash all over the ground, or, again, in my opinion, pouring out pee in a parking lot, that kind of thing. It's just, for me, I am not anti-pee bottle. It's quite convenient, and I am not embarrassed to say that, yes, you might find a pee bottle in my truck. But I'm not pouring it out. I'm not going to give you my method to my madness, but you're not going to see me pouring it out in a parking lot. I promise you that. So anyway, yeah, that's a disappointing thing. I mean, I'm even, I haven't been a trucker very long, and maybe that's why I'm this way, but even, one of the things we do is we blow out our trailers, in between loads. If it's not, if the trailer's not, like after some of the meat loads from Tyson, things like that, you got like blood and stuff like that, you got to get a washout. But if it's usually just pieces of pallet, maybe some plastic wrap, stuff like that, you can, just take a leaf blower, which I have, and blow it out, and you're good for the next load. But I do something, and maybe a lot of truckers do it. I have never seen a trucker do this, but I go in with a Walmart bag and I pick up in the trailer before I do any blowing out the stuff. I pick up every piece that I can that's reasonable to pick up. Anything that's at least like this big or so. I pick up. Because sometimes you got nails in those things. You got bolts and sharp metal, things like that. But I pick up everything, and then I use the leaf blower and blow out. It's usually just a bit of dirt, and then anything that I missed, afterwards, I get down on the ground, I run through, the vicinity, and if there's any big pieces, I throw it in my Walmart bag and I throw it away. I don't like being the person that leaves a place worse than I found it. It's just me. I'm not a person that digs littering off. Now, also, it does have a practical purpose. I bought the absolute cheapest, crappiest leaf blower that is on the market, I think. And if you have anything that's heavy and you have to work on blowing it, like you have to really work to get these bigger pieces moving, it will die. Fully charged, in 4 or 5 minutes. That's about all you got with this leaf blower. So removing all those type of pieces, before you start the process, it makes it a lot easier for me. Anyway, I think that's it. Let's see, what else did I... Yeah, the only other thing I was going to mention, I went through Silver City, Mississippi, on the way here, and I'm not up on. I remember the story. This was one of those kind of lower economic communities that got hit by think I'll leave it there.